Hello and good evening, our beloved viewers. It's 9 p.m. You are watching on live RTD channel. Welcome to this English news edition. Here are the major stories. Launch of the first campaign of the culinary competition entitled Best Cook. And on the international scene, in Mali, the army backing Kidal, the agreement with the rebels. Welcome to our newsroom. To begin this edition with this news release which has reached from the Presidency of the Republic, which indicates that a territory summit of the African Union held on 9 and 10 February 2020 in Addis Ababa. Details in this report. The Republic of Djibouti, with the support of many other African countries, openly contests of the validity of the deeply flawed outcome of preceding the AU Permanent Representative Committee in August 2019. The decision of the AU Executive Council not to endorse the recommendation of the AU PRC in 2019 clearly renders the recommendation of that committee to support Kenya's candidature to the non-permanent UN Security Council in 2021-2022 for the African group manifestly illegitimate and invalid. The coordinates with the rules of 5 of the rules of procedures of African Union. The AU Executive Council cannot delegate its power to the Permanent Representative Committee in accordance with the Rule 5, Paragraph 3 of its rules of procedures. The AU Executive Council, through Paragraph 6 of its decision, mandate the Permanent Representatives Committee to decide on the candidatures of Djibouti and Kenya, while retaining the authorities to take the final decision of these matters. The PRC is to report to the Executive Council with the recommendation on the implementation of the mission entrusted to it by the Executive Council. According to Rules 26, the decision of the PRC is rules of procedures. Its decision remain recommendation until adopted by the Executive Council. The PRC does not have the power to take final decision. At the Territory African Union Summit, Djibouti successfully and convincingly challenged the PRC's recommendation, citing numerous violations of rules and procedures and arguing that Djibouti should be the source candidates of the African groups and African Union for the non-permanent seat of the UN in 2021-2022. As part of the preparation for the celebration of the International Mother's Language Day on 21 February 2020, the Minister of Muslims Affairs, Culture and Property, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, shared a working meeting on Thursday, 13 February. In taking the floor, the minister recalled while thanking the participant for having responded to his invitation the importance of the celebration of International Mother's Language Day on 21 February each year. Throughout the world. For this year, the theme chosen is cross-border language, which suits our country perfectly, as it has a border language and share a common culture with the communities in neighboring countries. For the 2020 edition, priority has been given to organizations in charge of mother's tongue, such as Somali Pen and Afro Pen, which are responsible for carrying out cultural activities, debates, and workshops. In his speech, the Minister Mumin Hassan Barre stressed that this year the celebration of the International Mother Language Day will take place on Thursday, February 20 instead of Friday, February 21, which is a holiday. The minister highlighted the priority of mother tongue, both in terms of safeguarding our cultural heritage and cognitive development of children. On this subject, the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margeli, attached great importance to mother tongue, has placed the language at the heart of the country's cultural policy, and much progress has been made in this area, and in particular the support to the two main associations, Somali Pen and Afro Pen, the creation of Somali language academies and the Afro Language Academy, the publication of many books, the commemoration of the 40th anniversary of Somali and Afro language. The city of Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates hosted a 10th edition of the World Urban Forum from 8 to 14 February 2020. The Republic of Djibouti was represented by a large delegation led by the Ministry of Housing, Ms. Amina Abdiaden, accompanied by the Director General of the Urban Rehabilitation and Social Housing Agency, Abdurrahman Ali Ahmed, and the senior executive of the sector. The World Urban Forum, established by the United Nations in 2001, provides an open and inclusive high-level platform to address one of the most pressing problems facing the world: a rapid urbanization and urbanizations and housing deficit. This 10th edition of the World Urban Forum, held for the first time in Arab country, brought together delegation from 168 countries and a large panels of delegates from several international organizations, placed this year under the theme Opportunities for Cities. The Minister of Housing took part in the various high-level dialogue panels presenting Djibouti's experience in urban development and the reduction of substandard housing through the implementation of the National Housing Strategy. On the sidelines of the World Urban Forum, the Djiboutian delegation had a series of meetings and exchanges with the Executive Secretary of UN Housing, Mr. Maimoun. And this meeting provided an opportunity to discuss ways and means of establishment close collaborations between the UN agency and the Ministry of Housing, particularly in the areas of capacity building for the key institution in charge of the urban management. In Djiboutian delegation also had a meeting with senior World Bank representative to discuss the progress made in the implementation of the Zero Slums program. Lastly, in the context of a South-South Corporation, the Minister of Housing had a meeting, and the Minister of National Land Uses Planning, Urban Development, Housing and Urban Policies. The two ministers agreed to concretize a lasting partnership through the signing of a partnership agreement, which will set out the major lines of the exchange of experiences and expertise in the field of housing. The Minister of Housing, Ms. Amina Abdiaden, delivered a speech during her participation in the work of the 10th session of the World Bank of the World Urban Forum, which touched the presidential program being implemented to get rid of informal housing. The Minister of Housing, Ms. Amina Abdiaden, explained this program and other programs that are implemented on the initiatives of President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margeli, aiming to provide every citizen with the adequate housing and provide all citizens with the same opportunities to obtain urban service regardless of their social status or places of residence, noting that the strategy for implementing the disposal program of the informal settlement for on the pillars of the strategy direction set by the Djiboutian government within the framework of the vision of 2035 in order to keep paces of effort to achieve social progress and improve the living condition of the Djiboutian people. Also, this program is in line with the goals of 33 years sustainable development plan adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, in partnership with the Ministry of Women and Family, UNFD, and UNDP officials, launched the first campaign of the cooking competition entitled Best Cooker at the neighborhood 7 CDC, inheriting and a very lengthy role of the city of Wahlidaba and one of the section 2 sector were piped against each of others with the various menus before the highly qualified jury. The two teams each had 1 hour of preparation time and 30 minutes to prepare dishes that they will then tested before being rated and ranked. The ceremony was attended by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Mr. Hassan Mohamed Kamil, the Minister of Employment, Isman Ibrahim Roble, the Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Adencher, the Vice President of the UNFD, Ms. Hassan Ahmed Bilil, the Secretary General of the Secretary General, and the UNDP representative Fatima, parliamentarians and several executive and officials of the Secretary General of Youth and Sport and elders of the neighborhood. A new highlight commendable initiative that will allow our young people not only to assert themselves in this file so far little explored but also and especially to make profession of the future in the future. He said with pleasure the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport before an audience of guests. As a reminder, the first edition of the Best Cooker lunch today will take place every Thursday until March. The next team in the running are the CDC of Anglais and the CDC of Neighborhood 5. The National Agency for Disabled Persons, known as ANPH, officially launched the biometric registration of disabled persons in Djibouti in the partnership with the Ministry of Health in the first district. Last Wednesday, the launch was made in the presence of the Director General of the ANPH, Mr. Douali Saeed Mohamed, the Mayor of the city of Djibouti, Ms. Fatuma Awale, the President of the Commune of Bolaus, the Sub-Prefect of the district, Abdi Hassan, and several other local personalities attended the event. The mobilization inclusion car will reinforce the right of people with disabilities and recall that it is a car that is forgery proof, secure and modern. The team in charge of issuing the inclusive mobility card to proceed with the efficiency biometric cards. In an interview, the mayor of Djibouti City, Ms. Fatuma Awale, said the launch of a historical program that of a biometric registration, the first of its kind, is in our country. It is a program that will allow us to enroll the first biometric registration in our country. The special feature of this biometric identity card is that the ministries have the right to collect information about the person, but only in the respective sector. For example, the Ministry of Health can only have access to information about the person's health. We have also set up a mechanism to protect the private information of a registered person. All this to tell you that this biometric identity card is the most important biometric system in today's world of information technology. It is essential to always keep in mind to the importance of the policy of President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margili, to support and protect the citizens in the best condition, especially those with disabilities. Colonel Wais Umar Baqori, commander of a Coast Guard, warmly welcomed in the premises of a General Directorate of the Coast Guard located at the port of a strong delegation of Industrial Corporation Division of the Ministry of Defense and the Republic led by Mr. Tomau, Deputy Minister of Defense of the Czech Republic in the presence of the ambassador of Mr. Pavel Mikes and the Coast Guard official after an important takeover in honors of Deputy Minister of Defense and his counterpart, Colonel Wais Umar Baqori, received the strong delegation in the reception hall to welcome them and to give them an exclusive presentation of the different mission installation and equipment of the Coast Guard. During the meeting between the Colonel Wais Umar Baqori, commander of the Coast Guard, and the Deputy Minister of Defense of his counterpart, Mr. Toma, it was also an opportunity for the businessmen belonging to the delegation of the Industrial Corporation Division of the Ministry of Defense of his counterpart to present the commander of Coast Guard and the military civil industry and their innovation in the field of radars, technology, and military equipment. The Deputy Minister of Defense said that and praise the rapid development and major breakouts achievement by the Coast Guard in Djibouti, such as a shorter period of time. He further affirmed that our country stands ready to collaborate further with the Republic of Djibouti to support the Coast Guard's considerable effort in the field of maritime safety and security. In the continuation of the tour on the rapprochement of the administration to the citizens, the prefect of region of Obok, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Banoita, visits Monday, February 2020 in the locality of sub-prefecture of Gorangar, namely the village of Ulmas, and in his tribe, the prefect was accompanied by the president of the regional council of Obok, Mr. Mohammed Ismail, the chief of army corps, Colonel Aden Douali, a medical team led by the chief physician and the educational advisor of the Ministry of National Education. The prefect and his delegation were warmly welcomed by the sub-prefect of Gorangar, Mr. Ahmed Ali Mohammed, and the host population. After the welcome, the prefect made a field visit to the schools of these inhabitants. The sub-prefecture of Gorangar. Subsequently, fruitful exchanges took place between the two parties. At the same time, the identity card products were distributed at the medical team, provide medical care, ranking from treatment to the vaccination. The aim is to act with self-sacrifice and efficiency so that the action find a favorable in the community development. World news now. The Mali army back in Kidal in the agreement with the rebels. Details in this report. The Malian army back in Kidals in agreement with the rebels. This is a major step forward, present as a symbol of reconciliation in Mali. A column of 300 men from the Malian army entered in Kidal, the northern city of the country. The army had not set foot there since May 2014. Since then, the town has been controlled by former rebels. Army groups mostly target the return of regular forces to Kidal is the result of a peace agreement which provides for power sharing between the army and ex-rebels, also aim at fighting jihadists. The separatists in Kidal has been accused by the neighboring countries, which has also been hit by the Islamic State, on the allowing the terrorists to use Kidal as a rear base. Since 2012, Mali has been confronted with the independence and jihadist uprising and inter-community violence that have left thousands dead and hundreds of thousands displaced. This is it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.